Hey, this is Alex Cyr for the Marathon Handbook. What are we reviewing today? The Hoka Cielo X1. Let's go. I am very excited about these because, as you can see, this is Hoka's boldest move since coming out with big cushion shoes in 2010 when everyone was wearing the Vibram 5 Fingers. Rest in peace. So I gotta say, I'm surprised by this release. This shoe looks nothing like all of the other Hoka shoes. Hoka's been rolling in it. It's hard to go through a North American city and not see a new Hoka store. Their market share doubled in the last year from 4 to 8%, and mostly because people like the Mach and the Clifton. You'd see them on the feet of runners, but also doctors, nurses, people who are on their feet all day. Like, I hate to say it, but Hoka was becoming the new Crocs. And now they're releasing something completely different. And I had to ask myself, why fix something that's not broken? With all that said, Hoka was running behind in the super shoe game. They did not get the airtime of Nike, Asics, Adidas, New Balance in the finish lines. Even On, Puma, and Saucony were winning more big races than the Hoka shoes. So it just made sense, I suppose, for Hoka to go back to the drawing board and come up with this. A two-platform, super aggressive, curved running shoe that Hoka called its most cushioned shoe to date, which is saying something for Hoka. It's also meant to be the most forward-rocking and energy-returning sneaker they've ever created. So we need to start with the sexy scale because this is the wackiest super shoe I've received in my life. It's got a corduroy upper. It has some shiny details around the laces in a colorway that's fit for Coachella or the Orange Power Ranger or the 1991 Calgary Flames. They certainly wouldn't double as casual shoes, but Hoka went for it, and I respect that. And so I gotta give them an 8. Okay, let's move on to brass tacks. How does the Cielo X1 compare to other super shoes? By a few metrics, they're very similar. The heel to toe drop is quite average. The stack height, 40 millimeters, pretty standard for super shoes. Here's the metric that stands out to me. The weight, 9.2 ounces for a men's size 9 is very chunky for a super shoe. In fact, it's even heavier than the Hoka flagship trainer, the Clifton, which weighs in at 8.9 ounces. It's hard to say where the extra weight is actually coming from, but when you look at the upper, you can tell it's a lot sturdier than, say, the thinly knit upper of the Alphafly or the Brooks Hyperion Elite 4. Overall, the upper is a little bit weird. It's difficult to fit your foot into the entry point, and then once you fit your foot in, the shoe feels pretty wide, so then you have to tie it really tightly. And then that brings me to the laces, which are rigid and rather difficult to manipulate. If Hoka were to change one thing about these shoes, I would recommend it be the laces. Moving to the lower half of the shoe, you'll see right away that the biggest change is this cutout in the shoe's lower edge, which feels really 2023. We saw this in the Alphafly 2 and also in the Adidas Adios Pro 3, but both brands have since moved away from that model. Hoka, meanwhile, just introduced the cutout now, and that's not a bad thing. It's meant to cut weight, but it just feels like they've showed up a bit late to the party. That rocker profile actually makes these shoes feel like nothing I've ever worn. They thrust you onto your toes, but only after a significant amount of time on the ground. It's like running on a half wheel. So I can't decide if this feels more like a racing shoe or a super trainer. The thing is, it doesn't explode off the ground like an Alphafly or an Asics Metaspeed Sky, but they're very fun to run in. I've absolutely loved using them for tempos and progressive runs. The shoe is also vegan. Vegan? I've never heard of a vegan shoe. In fact, I'm pretty sure my Alphafly only eats raw steak. So to wrap it up, yes, these shoes are unique. Yes, they will get people talking, and yes, they're nothing like any other Hoka shoe I've ever seen, but are they worth the buy? If you're looking for the fastest shoe in the world, I don't think this is it. I just think there's lighter out there and more explosive out there. But if you're looking for a fun ride, if you love Hoka shoes, if you're looking for something that gets you on your toes without hurting your joints, and also have $275 to spend, give these a try. They will be like nothing you've ever worn, and you might be the most stylish runner on the start line. I can at least promise that. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe to our channel, and follow us on social media. Till next time, and happy running.